you ever have the urge to change your will just in case one of these monsters? You just have to be the one that.
Yes. Yes. You know, it's funny when we make the show, all of us, there's this kind of, if you've ever, you know, if you've gone to the woods at night or you've done a paranormal hunt or gone camping, there's this sort of Hardy Boys, Boy Scout thing that takes over where you just, it's fun and you're out there and you feel like you're having a real adventure. And it's like later in the edit bay when I look at the footage and I'm like, what in the holy hell are we doing out there? That is, I should be jumping off that thing. And, but you know, we talk about it all the time. It's like, well, what happens if Bigfoot comes busting out of this bush? You know? I mean, you know, I throw Rex in front of him. I get Ryder in front of me. You know? Yeah, so I mean, that's one of the real hazards of the show is that we, you know, there really is not a safety net there. We're out in these, I mean, we take as much precaution as we can, but we're out in these real wilderness environments, and you know, you can't always plan for that.
Thank you. Thanks for making it to DragonCon. We've been waiting for you for a long time.
Hello.
So there was something buried in the ground, I think in season 2, inside of a cave. I think it might have been Peru or
Yes.
Chile.
Yes.
What was that?
This is a question that I get a lot, and it's a slightly unsatisfying answer, unfortunately. We were investigating these abandoned mines in Chile, and the story was that, and this is one of the more sort of outlandish stories that we've had, that like, people have seen these like, alien-like figures down in this abandoned mine, and so I'm like, oh, okay, I'll come and check out your abandoned mine. And the mines turned out to be really scary and treacherous, and we learned a couple years later Chilean mining can be really hazardous. And I will say I saw something very weird in the sky that night that I couldn't explain. But also, toward the very end of our investigation, we were in this one little chamber, and we found something in the ground that it became clear pretty quickly it was a carcass of something that stank to high hell. It was really, really foul stuff. And we excavated it, and it was like this weird, mostly skeletal remains of something kind of wrapped in cloth. And it was clear to with limited, you know, anatomy knowledge I have, but also clear to Rex, my medic, it was not human, it was not a dog, it was not a cat, it was nothing, it had very kind of, there were things about its anatomy I didn't quite understand. It just seemed like something I didn't know what it was. So we photographed it extensively, but I was sort of, you know, thinking, this is going to end up being a chicken, this is going to end up being, you know, something like that. So we photographed it extensively, we excavate it from the ground, we box it up, we take it back to the hotel with us, you know, and we, as we're getting ready to leave, there became an issue with this. That, you know, we couldn't travel. We can't just load a rotting carcass on a plane, you know, for the States, right? So we got into kind of a little tussle with the local authorities and the customs authorities of what would happen to this. And the answer kind of came down, you're not going to be able to remove this from the country. So we photographed it in a million ways from Sunday, and they said, we're going to do tests on it, we'll let you know what we find out. So fine. So we take it back, and I show these photos to a couple of our go-to guys, and who are like total buzzkills. Like they're like hardcore scientists. Like anything we're like, could this be? And they're like, no, that's a dog. Right? So we get these like real buzzkill scientists in the end who always like, you know, just take the wind out of our sails. So he looks at this thing, and I'm like, what do you think? Is it a chicken? He's like, definitely not a chicken. And they looked at photos, more photos, and he couldn't tell what it was. So I took it to another zoologist. I took it to a guy at the Museum of Natural History. And everybody looked at the photos and said, you know, without the carcass, it's really difficult to tell because of the state of decomposition. But it doesn't look like, the best guess one of them had was that it looked like fetal cow. It wasn't a primate though, and it was not a bird. The bones were wrong for a big bird. And so then we never heard back from anybody in Chile. And we tried, we followed up, and we said, remember that crazy dead alien carcass we left you down there? we've been leaving some messages about that, and we have heard nothing. So we, every 6 months, I pick up the phone and call the phone numbers I have, and so there's a real X-Files conspiracy thing there. But I don't know. Yeah, it's a long way of saying I don't know what that was.
Hello.
Hello.
So we know that you've been to like Chernobyl,
some cases, you know, I'm a travel nut, right? So I'm like a shameless country counter. I have like a, you know, I keep my list of every country I set foot in, and so I am always kind of wanting to go to new places. I mean, Chernobyl's the one I probably wouldn't go back to on that list. It's a pretty rough destination. It was amazing. When I was there, I felt like I wanted to spend a week there. But at the same time, you know, it was also incredibly sad, but also just sort of lethally dangerous to spend long amounts of time there. The thing about Chernobyl is, if you haven't seen this episode or you don't know much about the history, you know, where the reactor was built in the Ukraine, right next to it, they built a city called Pripyat. Pripyat was to house the workers that worked in the reactors. And this is like I mean, it's not Atlanta, but it's not 3 buildings, it's a town. And it's all still sitting there, and it's just frozen in time. And when the reactor melted down and they cleared everybody out, they told everybody, you can come back in a couple days, don't worry about it. This is something we have to do, but you're going to be able to come back. And of course, nobody was ever allowed back. And so the town is in this weird state of suspension where people kind of didn't think they were leaving for good, so they just sort of walked away from everything. And if you go out into the street in Pripyat and you look down the street, there's apartment buildings, 20 floors high, a bunch of them. There's a hotel, there's a theater, there's a department store, there's a carnival, there's a gymnasium.